Depression? Isn't that just a fancy word for feeling bummed out?
Hi everyone, welcome to Priority Holder, and today I'll be playing Red-Black Thieving Outlaw Scam in the timeless format. So the name of the game is stealing stuff from the opponent, so Laughing Jasper Flint is a good way to do that. Beginning your upkeep, it exiles top X cards of target opponent's library X number of outlaws you control. Until end of turn you can cast those cards. And any creatures you steal from them turn into outlaws themselves. And so this is like a grindy way to start stealing stuff from the opponent. But also we have some other creatures that steal stuff. Ragavan can steal off the top of the opponent's library. Tinybones can steal out of their graveyard. And both of these happen to be outlaws, which work together with Laughing Jasper Flint. Now, in these cards, it's also really convenient to run like the powerful scam package. So we got Grief, we got Fury, because these cards can all pitch to them. We got some Malakir Rebirths to complete the scam. But also we have Gev Scaled Scorch. Also an outlaw. Doesn't quite steal stuff, but it can just provide some extra value as like a hard to deal with threat. Pitches to Grief and Fury. And you may notice we're running a lot of legends so that we can run Mox Amber. This allows us to sort of get some extra mana generation for stealing stuff and just sort of try and run some Moxes in here. And yeah, let's jump to some games. This is, you know, it's a reasonable hand. We don't have like the true scam in the beginning, but we can, if we wanted to, turn one Grief them. And decide to go for it, pitching Gev. We can recoup card advantage pretty well in this deck by stealing stuff from the opponent, so I'm gonna go for it. And it's clear the opponent is playing Dredge, so the question is what to take. Obviously we're going to leave Narcomoeba. Stitcher's Applier seems the strongest one because it mills them and then it also like impedes our attacking and then mills them again. So go ahead and get rid of Stitcher's Applier. But the opponent has a strong hand, they'll be able to get the mill train started. Shocked to see that they didn't fire off like a one of the merfolks, so they opted to hold up Otherworldly Gaze. Alright, so they do get to mill a Narcomoeba. And yeah, we're just going to pass to them, see what they do. We have Bowmasters, so... Alright, so the opponent rips another Stitcher Supplier. We'll have to see what they hit. Alright, and just mill, mostly just nothing important. Alright, so we're going to crack their fetch. Let's see if a Secret Keeper... Yeah. So they're going to use the mill mode and Secret Keeper. Alright, so they do find a Bloodghast and a Prized Amalgam. Alright, so we're going to Bowmasters right now. There is an argument for hitting the Stitcher Supplier so we can attack them, but decide just to hit the Narcomoeba. So now we can finally play Laughing Jasper Flint. And, I mean, there will be some useful things to steal from them potentially, but there's also a lot of just fluff, like self-mill cards that don't do anything for us. So, we'll have to see how relevant our hits are, but yeah, we're just going to pass to them, see what they do. Otherworldly Gaze. Alright, so they mill another Prized Amalgam. Alright, so there's the land, so this can bring Bloodghast back, and it's going to bring all the Prized Amalgams back. Maybe they just have one Amalgam in there, okay. Thought there was a second one. Alright, Secret Keeper, and they hit a Creeping Chill and another Bloodghast. Alright, so here comes Amalgam. And we get a Narcomoeba, so... But yeah, let me know in the comments, what's your favorite theft card? I don't tend to play that archetype that much, but I've been having fun with Laughing Jasper Flint. Alright, so... I'm gonna dash in Ragavan. Hold back a couple blockers for their attackers, because we are fairly low life already. Don't have enough for Silver Smoke Ghoul, but we do have enough for Tinybones, which can at least threaten a strong block, and it's going to up our Outlaw count to start stealing even more things with Laughing Jasper Flint. So opponent's going to Otherworldly Gaze, and they bin a Wonder, so my plans of blocking have just ended, and the opponent plays a Secret Keeper in defense. So already we fall to 8, we grab a Bloodghast and an Otherworldly Gaze from them, so looking at their graveyard to see what's going on. They do have another Bloodghast there. I'm trying to figure out what to do, like, is it worth it to pitch cast Fury right here? Decide that it is worth it. We can't bolt in Shatterskull Smashing because we're just going to die. Like, they have so many, we can't block the flyers and they have so many of them. Decide to use Fury on like their 2 good attackers right here. Now I know they can like bring them back, but at least gonna buy us some time while allowing us to still get some attacks through. And we're gonna make their life difficult right here by dashing in Ragavan, because they have to sort of pick their poison between Ragavan and Tinybones. So they block in this manner. So they're gonna get a bit of self-mill off the Stitcher Supplier. But we will get to steal something with Tinybones. And with our 2 mana open, it seems pretty valuable to steal a Bloodghast. Would have been nice if we had 1 more mana, because then we could have stolen the Wonder. Actually, no, we would need 2 more mana, so yeah, that wasn't going to happen. Opponent hits a Creeping Chill, so we fall to 5. Thankfully, we don't have any Silver Smoke Ghouls to bring back and trigger the Amalgams, otherwise we'd just be instantly dead right now. So, we are taking the Bloodghast from their graveyard. Alright, so let's see what the opponent does. Otherworldly Gaze. Leaving everything on top. And then a Secret Keeper on defense. So interesting. I wonder what they have. And they must be stacking it so it's not useful for us. So I actually do check them. They do have 19 cards in the graveyard, because we could actually mill them out if we get enough Glimpse of the Unthinkables and stuff like that, or Merfolk Secret Keepers. So it looks like we're going the damage route as of now. But once again, the opponent has to choose whether or not to block Tinybones, because we can keep stealing stuff from their graveyard. So going to grab their other Bloodghast and take that away as an option as like landfall to get the prized Amalgam back. So Ragavan's going to jump back into our hand, and the opponent needs to do something quick or else they're donezo. Alright, so there's just hard cast prized Amalgam, and there really doesn't seem like it's going to be enough. So and this was an amazing draw right here. Like, would have had a more complicated turn, except for the fact that we can pitch cast Fury right here. So we're gonna nuke the prized Amalgam and just send in with everyone else. And at this point, we will be able to like steal a prized Amalgam from their graveyard, if they can even survive the attack right here. So gonna send in with everything and see how they block. All right, so it turns out the opponent wasn't doing very hot, so they just block that way, and then that's it. So if you like seeing Dredge get their stuff stolen, please Zalfir and decoy the like button, and we're on to the next one. We do have a Mox Amber hand. That's, we're going really out of our way to play a high density of low mana value legends like Ragavan and Tinybones, so we'll see if the Mox Amber pays off. The idea is that we can harness that extra mana from the Moxes to steal stuff from the opponents. Alright. Swamp Thoughtseize is unfortunate. Alright, so they take Bowmasters. There's Dark Ritual. So we can actually hard cast a Fury right now, because Ragavan's going to be able to hit them. It's going to make a treasure. Then we could play Mox Amber, and we have a land to play. So between that and Dark Ritual, we can get it done. So the question is whether we want to like crack for a Surveil land or preserve the treasure. I decide it's worth it to preserve the treasure, considering how we have another Fury in hand that we would like to get into play somehow. So, and yeah, definitely not going to nuke our own creatures. So, I mean, not a bad turn two. We have a ton of stats on the battlefield. Alright, so opponent just passes with 2 mana. Bowmasters is pretty nice, depending on what the opponent tries to go for. So we attack in, and they're just going to tank 8 damage, so feeling pretty amazing right here. Alright, and see what we get from the opponent. Nothing of value. I'm gonna pass with Bowmasters up. Like the opponent's at low life. Doesn't seem sensible to send Fury out there when we can hold up Bowmasters. Hedge Maze from the opponent, and let's see what they do. And when you see like all these Surveil lands and stuff, like that's when you start worrying that it's a combo deck, namely Show and Tell. So that is incredibly unfortunate because we have them so low. So gonna cast the Bowmasters and put Fury into play, and we just got to see, do they have it, you know? And these decks are built such that they rarely fail. And the opponent just had it immediately. They have the Mastermind's acquisition right from the get-go. Didn't even need to do like Atraxa for it. So there's Approach the Second Sun. Atraxa is going to pull it 7 cards deep and cast it again, and that is it. So that was a tough one. Didn't have a Grief to combat the combo deck. So move on to the next game. An exceptionally strong hand right here. Opponent goes turn 1 Deathrite Shaman. I'm going to play Blackcleave. Trying to decide what to do, thinking that it's probably best to pitch cast Grief, pitching Dark Ritual, and then scam it in with Malakir Rebirth. Maybe could have, yeah, it just seems like we want to keep our threat in Laughing Jasper Flint. So the opponent conveniently only has two very strong cards in hand, but we're going to be able to take them both. So first Grief's going to take away Flip Sorin, and the second appearance of Grief's going to take away Oko, which would have been exceptionally difficult to deal with. So this is really fortunate for us, and the opponent has all lands right now. I mean, Deathrite Shaman can do a lot of work, but they're going to need something nice. Alright, Fury from the opponent. Decide just to pitch cast Fury right here, just to try and close the door even more, and possibly even toggle full control on to try and act like we can scam it in, which would be even more devastating, and the opponent just packs it in. So sometimes you want to bluff the scam because the opponent will just concede to that, you know, so you need to keep that in mind. That was a tough one to mulligan with all those Dark Rituals, but we had a tap, like only land was a tap land. That's tough. Gotta decide what to do because we need lands to cast our stuff, but putting Gev back means we have less pitch fodder for Griefs and Furies. So alright, Brainstorm from the opponent. Wish we could have had a Bowmasters in response to that, but you know, would have taken a Dark Ritual to make that happen. Gonna put a Surveil land into play. Gev at least is a pitch card. It doesn't seem like quite what we're looking for right here. Mox Amber. Decide to hold the Mox Amber. It does leave it vulnerable to hand disruption, so there's that. Demonic Tutor from the opponent. Never a good sign. And yeah, I mean, we're just gonna send out Bowmasters and hope we can actually do something. Malakir Rebirth. Wishing we had a Grief right now. That would be really nice to scam that. We're gonna go ahead and play Laughing Jasper Flint and Mox Amber. We do have at least active Malakir Rebirth should they try and, like, you know, Fatal Push Bowmasters or something before brainstorming. Here comes Dark Ritual. Never a good sign, and here's Show and Tell. Now, we don't like just auto lose to this deck every time. You know, we have Griefs and stuff, so we can threaten them, and just not getting the Grief hands against the Show and Tell deck. So the opponent just played a Lorien Revealed into the Bowmasters, so we got to ding them a little bit, but now they played Veil of Summer, so it means they have Hexproof from black, so it means we can't even ding them. So they can just fire off Brainstorms and Lorien Revealed, but they're able to just chain a bunch of assembled teams into their combo win right here. So we pack it in. That was a tough one. Move on to the next one. This is an absolutely incredible hand right here. Alright, opponent's going to bobble us. And didn't play anything off for just a basic mountain, so shocked to see that. Gonna crack the fetch, lock up our red-black source, get the Blood Crypt. Almost got a tap land there, that would have been devastating. So definitely want to fire off Dark Ritual, and use one of the mana to scam the Grief, and the other 2 mana to play Bowmaster. So decide to pitch Tinybones because Gev lets us pitch cast Fury, which may be relevant, especially against red. So we're going to hit them with Grief and see what's going on first. Alright, Static Discharge and 2 Eidolons. We're definitely going to take Static Discharge because that removes any one of our threats. And going to Malakir Rebirth and take one of the Eidolons, but yeah, the opponent's seen enough. We were shredding them right there. It was not going to go well. So move on to the next one. These games have been lightning fast. A decently strong hand, and the one time we have a Grief, well, not the one time, but mostly you see Leyline of Sanctity played by Show and Tell. So presumably we have the Grief and then they have the Leyline, and it's just how it goes sometimes. We're gonna Ragavan and see where that can take us. All right, there's the Hedge Maze from the opponent, keeping on top. Don't like to see that. Don't like it when the opponent's happy with their cards. We're gonna hit them with Ragavan, and knowing that we had Ragavan, they probably placed something useless on top, though not. If it's a Show and Tell deck we're facing, there's not a lot of useful stuff in there for us anyway. But we're going to turn to Laughing Jasper, Raucous Theater, Fury. Decide to keep it because we have a scam available with the Malakir Rebirth, and Fury is a much faster closer than Grief is, and we can't even Grief them right now. So I'm going to send in with Laughing Jasper, which, because the whole set was set up around committing crimes, needs to target the opponent. So that's why Laughing Jasper Flint did not even trigger, because the opponent has hexproof. So, alright. Something useless once again. We're going to go ahead and scam the Fury into play, because we can at least threaten lethal should the opponent like stumble and not have anything. So this is going to put a ton of stats into play. So yeah, we're just going to scam the Fury, not killing any creatures. And see if that's enough, because will kill the opponent next turn. Like, this is a really explosive draw. Like, against any mid-range deck, they'd be like really in trouble right now, because this is a ton of damage, ton of stats. We would have been able to sweep like any creatures they had. Another Hedge Maze from the opponent, keeping on top. Not a good sign, once again. Let's see what happens. And turn 3 Show and Tell once again. So we're going to put the Grief into play. Omniscience from them, so we got to see if they miss. Born Upon a Wind, Lorien Revealed, Fae of Wishes, grabbing it, and then here comes a Traxxer, and that's it. So that was a tough one. This was an interesting one. You could see there were a lot of highs and lows. Like, we really struggled against the Show and Tell decks, and it's not an unwinnable matchup, but you know, if you don't have the Grief and they have the turn 3 Show and Tell, like, you might just be dead. This deck really shines against aggro and mid-range strategies, because we can tear them apart with Griefs and Furies and Shatterskull Smashings. Like, we have a lot of things. Like, I really wanted to fight against red-white energy, but it just didn't show up in that sequence of games. Like, I think we can really tear them apart with Furies and then start stealing their Ocelot Prides and stuff, and then really use their own strategy against them. It may be that Mox Amber is just sort of too cute. There are, like, it has high ceiling, like, it can lead to some really explosive starts, but also really low floor. It could just do literally nothing. It does warp our deck building quite a lot. And there are some, like, awkward moments, like, if you go turn 1 Ragavan, you can't use, like, Mox Amber to play a Dark Ritual, because you can only add red mana if you only have Ragavan out. So there are some tough things. It may be better just to literally just take those out and put 4 Thoughtseizes in. That'll shore up our combo matchup and possibly help against, like, the mid-range strategies also. So that may be just a better direction to take it in, and then you don't have to really play Gev. You could find, like, a stronger replacement card for this. One I considered in the Gev slot was Zoyova Lava Tongue, which has like a Punisher effect if you descended this turn. So it may actually be better, but Gev is sort of like an individually stronger card, so that's why I went with it. Maybe we want some One Rings in here. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I feel like there is something here though. But yeah, that's the deck. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see even more nonsense, please consider subscribing. And if you're already subscribed, thank you for your support. Your engagement with the channel helps me know what the people want. Thank you.